Welcome to Health, Wealth, and Happiness, Season 6, Session 7. As of the recording of this, we're in February of 2023. My goal was to find out ways to really live into this life anthem, and I'll challenge you to go after this as well, to make 2023, or whatever year it is if you're watching this later on in life, your best, healthiest, most energized year ever. I'm setting that bar way high. And I'm already dialed in after over a decade now of having high performance in my life to create and sustain levels of energy through the day. None of this. Not exactly true. Some days it is this because I've made the choice, conscious choice, to eat things and do things that give me the ride of energy, ups and downs, usually sugar related. But on the whole, like the rule is consistent energy till I'm tired and then poof. And I know when I'm tired and I know how to shut down, and I can shut down and go to sleep within like 3 minutes. That's what my Aura ring has been telling me, is I go to sleep too fast because I use release meditation to go to sleep. So once the head hits the pillow, release, release, release. And it's like that word releases thoughts, releases energy, releases my brain. It just helps me go to sleep fast. I'm so happy I figured that out. And that was quite a few years back. But today's goal is to give you, well, we have to go over the basics, but to give you the 5 ninja moves that I've tested and measured, and then I've challenged other people I coach to trial, and they've reported similar findings as well towards really living into that goal, that dream, that ambition of heightened levels of energy, health, and really making this year our best. Like really going after that. So before we get started, let's just take a moment. And I'd love for you, if you don't have your journal out, get it out, or your notes, whatever it is for you, get your phone out, take a note on it. What 1, 2, or 3 things right out of the gate, without me going over anything, can you do right now or in the next week to start to make 2023, or whatever year it is for you, if you're watching this replay later on in life, your best, healthiest, most energized year ever? What's 1, 2, or 3 things you can do? And I will bet that some of that shows up here. So today what we're going to do is we're going to go through the 5 Ps, because that's the sort of foundation of why we want to live into this, to really experience life vibrantly, engaged, connected, have great energy. You know the difference. You wake up some days and you're exhausted and it's like, I don't want to deal with people, I don't want to deal with anything. But then other days you wake up, hopefully you felt this, you wake up feeling energized and you're ready to go. You're like, bring it on, I got this. And you have this kind of energy, this kind of passion, this kind of positivity, this kind of purpose. If I haven't shared this with you before, the purpose of my life is very clear through the context of what we're talking about today in this training. And that is to help you from where you're at to where you want to be through the lens of improving your life. And if you have a business, growing your business. So you have the dream lifestyle, the dream outcomes, the dream experiences, adventures, fun that you want to have every day. Every day. You know, they say Sunday fun day. Well, every day is fun day. Monday fun day, Tuesday fun day, Wednesday fun day, and so on. And we really dial all that in so that you have sustainable vibrance, vitality, energy, health, and are rocking it out just like I am right now, right here with you. And this is coming off of 4 days in Vegas. So I came back, Wednesday. Today's Saturday. So it was a few days back, but it took me a little bit to right that ship because I get carried away sometimes out there, having a blasty blast. Great food, great drinks, great company, the whole shebang. But I know how to rectify and get back to best health, best energy. So I cannot wait to break this down for you. Some of these things are massive takeaways for me. I didn't even know what they meant. So I'll do my best to break it down. I'm going to give you some resources so you can take things further, give you a couple apps you can use, and a couple YouTube channel you can follow to really dial in some of the ninja moves today. I just want to make sure by the time we're done, you have got the tools, the mindset, and the perspective. So let's get started with the perspective, the big picture. Why? 5 Ps to feel more purposeful in how we're working with life. So often when people think of purpose, it's to move through life, to help others with their lives, and help the world be better. So there's the 3 areas. Taking care of me moving my life forward, doing things I enjoy, working in a job that I love, and then I'm helping others improve their lives, the basics, like purposeful parenting. You're helping these beautiful little beings evolve. A parent is an incredibly purposeful way of living, especially if you're really working to co-create and help them evolve and know the right and wrong and get great perspective, know how to think about the world, right? So we have that aspect of it. Then we have world purpose, where we're helping the world be a better place. And that can be as simple as going to a grocery store, opening the door for somebody with a smile. That's purposeful. Going out there and doing things that help the world be better. Maybe through your work or through contribution, volunteering. Purposeful. Taking care of gardening. Growing things. Purposeful. Going out there and volunteering time to clean up the earth. Purposeful. Does that all make sense as we get this story going? We're stirring the pot of options for you. So just with what I shared, anything you're doing right now that feels purposeful, anything you want to do that feels purposeful, anything there for you. Second, and I hope you're feeling this from me, passion. Engage with life. Can't be passionate, at least the way I want to be passionate, if I don't have the energy. I couldn't go and do this, what I'm doing with you right now, if I did not have great energy. Eyebrows up, looking at you, taking care of you, honored to be on a journey with you, really connecting passionately with you. I hope you're feeling it. Third area, positivity or positive. Having a great overview of life. Recognizing we're all human. We get into a negative or neutral mindset every so often. And sometimes a thought pops up and drops us down into a negative or neutral mindset. But the highest performers, they do not have bad days. They have bad moments because they have practices to reset, realign, rejuvenate, recharge, and get themselves back fast. So I would challenge, if you get into a negative thought pattern, it seems like a downward spiral that maybe goes on for a couple hours or a day, to really evolve thinking about what can I do to go back to reset myself, to get myself back psychologically. We've covered that in the training about previous training. I'll try to link to that below for you, where we really dove deep on reset practices depending on the magnitude of the emotion and the feelings that we have of neutral or negativeness. Does that all make sense? So positive, big part of this. It's really difficult for me to be positively energized if I haven't had 3 nights of good sleep. I'm a grump. I'm not this guy at all. Next area is productive. What are we doing that's moving things forward? What's the actual tasks? And I'll just add the last one, profit. What's the actual things we're doing to move things forward? What's the daily actions, the situational actions, the weekly actions that we're moving things forward with? That's production. And productivity is not just work-based. So many people, especially of my generation and previous, productive meant, what are you doing to help to work, to create income, Work is part of it. We have what we call the life arenas in high performance. Picture a big bubble, and that's your life. And in it, we have a bubble of work, a bubble of self-care, a bubble of family, a bubble of love, like the significant other, a bubble of friends, a bubble of finances, spirit, experiences, contribution, all these areas that we live in harmony with. I don't like the word balance, so like we live in a harmony with it. And if we're doing things right, the last P forms automatically, and that's profit. We're doing stuff we love. We've somehow, if we're an entrepreneur, we've monetized it, meaning that we have offers and things like that. We'll talk about that in our next training today. And we'll use the power of ChatGPT. I cannot wait for you to see and experience that training. It's going to be amazing. So honored to be on a journey with you. So as we frame out today, what does it mean when you feel high levels of energy and health? Right? You feel more purposeful, or can. You feel more enthusiastically involved in life. That can be a form of passion. You feel more positive energy. You feel better. You feel more productive. You're doing things. You're like, got this. You probably felt it before where you're like, I got this to-do list and I hate it. I don't want to do any of it. Or, I got this to-do list. I'm going to knock it out of the park. I'm going to be done by 1, out the door, and the rest of the day is mine. Let's go. And I want to thank Berge. It's been a long time since I've talked with him. In our coaching work, he shared that his mom had a life anthem done by 1, so that she could take the next hour from 1 to 2 and prep herself and her house for kids to come home from school. And when they came home, it was all about them. And he goes, we had the best mom, him and his 2 sisters. And it was so amazing. She'd get all her stuff done by 1, her volunteer work, clean the house, whatever else, her projects, her commitments. It'd be free and clear from 2 o'clock on when the kids came home. And it was such a tell about the way he is, because you can sense that, if that makes sense. So that's a form of production. And then profit. So I hope big picture training, or the big picture perspective before we step into our training, has really helped you see the ambition, the goal of what can be realized. Let's go ahead and jump into our training. So there's the basics and the amplifiers. Another way of putting it is the fundamentals and the ninja moves. If you've been in our training before, you know these fundamentals. They're part of the wheel of perspective. And I'll make sure to link to the wheel of perspective. That's a physical tool, like a printed tool that you can use. And I challenge you to print at least 5 copies of it. You happen to have access to a printer. And rate yourself at least once a week or for the next 5 days in these 10 areas. How well you're doing. And we're going to do this ranking today. And I'm going to rank me as we go through these. So these are the fundamentals to feel a life of the 5 Ps, to touch the rim of what's possible for you. So the very first one, and I already alluded to it, is sleep. How have you been doing at getting whatever it is for you, but typically it's 7.5 to 9 hours of good quality sleep per night. And let's just shoot back through the year so far. As of today, Saturday, February, what is it today? 10th, 11th? Somewhere in there. 11th. Saturday, February 11th, 2023 so far. Sleep. 0, not beginning to sleep at all. I'm a walking zombie, or I'm dead. 10, I've been crushing it. Overall, I've been getting the greatest quality of sleep this year so far. And if you have an Oura ring, it'll tell you, and we'll talk more about sleep mastery. I'll give you a hint, that's one of the ninja moves, and I'll go over the details of that in just a little bit. So sleep for me has been a 9.5. It would have been almost a 10 if it wasn't for the Vegas scene. But I knew that was coming, and I prepped for it. I doubled down on sleep beforehand, tried to get as much sleep as I could while we were there for the 4 days we were there, and then owned it from that perspective. The second one is hydration with the beautiful Palm Tree Turvis tumbler. So hydration. How well have you been doing at drinking water? Maybe electrolyte enhanced water. Water, not coffee, not beer, craft cocktails, which I happen to love, wine, soda, whatever else, just water. So as of this year, on a day-to-day basis, how you been doing it? Having water within reach, keeping your body hydrated. I didn't realize until I got into this high performance work, 2011, that I would have dull headaches every day. And it was because I was drinking things that were dehydrating. Coffee, and back in the day I would drink soda instead of water, and the dull headaches have been gone for a decade. Just this, just tags my energy, right? So hydration. And what we're aiming for, so many people, looking at a gallon of water a day would be one example of 3 liters of water essentially to reach. So you have that. I found when I have a glass of water within arm's reach, I'm sipping on it just automatically. So I just keep a glass of water just like that within arm's reach. Does that make sense? So how you been doing this year? And I'm going to give myself an 8 because there's been days, for whatever reason, I'll fall out of that. Meaning that I'll fall out of having the water on hand. I could totally forget to do that. It's kind of weird. Third item, critical for me, we're going to talk more about this as we get into the ninja moves, but is eating nutrient-rich food most of the time. And the easiest way to think about this, I've shared this many times, is staying away from beige foods. Breads, fries, chips, what else? Potatoes, and staying in the colors. Kale, carrots, red peppers. These are all things that I eat almost every day. Celery, blueberries, have those every day. Like primarily eating from the rainbow. And not Skittles, not candies, but healthy, nutrient-rich food. Oh, we're going to talk more about this in depth in a little bit. So how you been doing there this year? And I'm going to give myself eating nutrient-rich. I'm going to give myself a 9er there. That's been top of game. I still, literally 10 years later, am making the same shake that I made on day 3 of the Health, Wealth, and Happiness journey, the 10-day Health, Wealth, and Happiness challenge. Yeah, the 10-day challenge. And I show you in that challenge, because it's exactly this in that challenge. Each of these are a day. I show you me making the high performance shake. Spinach or kale, some powders, Vega 1 powders, active greens powder, some frozen organic blueberries, a banana, almond milk, coconut water, blend it up. It's delicious. So I've been making that now for over a decade. And why? Why? People still give me crap for this. I'm making them, why would you drink that? I'm like, why would you not? And if they've known me before and after, I'm like, you've seen my energy. This is a big part of my energy and my health is eating nutrient-rich food. This amplifies energy. I feel much better and more vibrant. You can see it in my face and in my skin. If I'm eating this maybe 3 times a week, 3 to 4 times a week is kind of what I aim for. Sometimes it's 2 times a week. Sometimes it's 5 times a week. But that's the goal. Does that all make sense? So how are you doing there? Next up is exercise. I would challenge you to think about, at least for 10 minutes a week, 2 times per week, to get your heart rate up and sustain it above, and it's maybe different for you, and I'm not trying to offer advice that could harm you, but to get your heart rate up to 150 beats per minute for a sustainable period of time. What I know about me as I run, and this is what I've done for the last decade, still can't believe this is all decade stuff now, is that I run every other day, 2 miles one day, then the next time that I run, so 2 days later, I'll run a 5K, which is essentially 3.1 miles. And my goal is to get my heart rate up to 150 and keep it there for more than 10 minutes. But it usually ends up being 15 on the 2-mile run and like 25 on the 5-mile run, or the 5K. Does that make sense? So whether it's running or something else, what we're aiming for is really getting our heart rate up there and adding variability to it. What the science shows here is that when you're exercising and you rev your heart, bring it down, rev your heart, bring it down, especially when you're my age, over 50, by the way, I know I don't look it, you really help your body, your mind, your arteries, your veins, have that flexibility they need to really sustain a longer life. But even above that, to feel energized and healthy. So many times I come off a run, I'm energized like crazy because I feel the running buzz, that runner's high they call it. And it's so good. Then on other days I'm in the gym working out, or I'm working out with Apple Fitness Plus. I'm really trying to bring that online. Or doing stretching, those kind of things. I'm bringing that online. Apple Fitness Plus, great tool, running right off this screen, where I'm going through and really working with people through yoga, stretching, core work. It's amazing because you can do 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. I'll make sure to link to that below so you can get an idea what Apple Fitness Plus is. There's other things like the Peloton solution, those kind of things. But Apple Fitness Plus, got a watch on, it'll measure your heartbeat, goes on, tracks it, shows you your heartbeat rate, like your beats per minute, essentially, so that you know where you're at through that lens. But the bottom line here is that we're getting sweaty a few times a week, and we're really trying to rev our heart rate up for a sustainable period of time, just to clean the system out and energize it. Is that helpful? Number 5, taking breaks. I didn't realize that when I have talked about this many a time, but when I was in flow in the early 90s in work, that the burnout sensation that I got was because I didn't take breaks to just chill. Like, I could see the payoff back then, this was 91, 92, of people taking cigarette breaks to go out, collect themselves and everything. But I would have never thought to do something similar without smoking a cigarette. To just go out and take a 5-minute break, chill, and do something that we teach in high performance, WMEI, So what is that? Take a small walk. Just walk a hallway. Walk around your office. Walk around the building. Just get out. Breathe. M. Listen to music, one song, part of a song that inspires you, that chills you out, whatever that would be. Or meditate. Just shut your eyes for a minute. Release. 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 Just let your body sit for a minute. Re-energize, the E, W-M-E, energize. Jumping jacks, burpee, move around, breath scale, this is something we teach in high performance, where you purposely raise the frequency of your breath and the depth of it for 30 seconds. Try not to faint. And that reoxygenates your being and recharges you. And then finally, take 10 minutes, or 10 seconds, 30 seconds, whatever it is for you, 10 minutes if you want, and set intention. When I go back into the office, here's my intention for the next hour or the next 90 minutes. Taking these breaks critically important for keeping energy, but more importantly, reducing the chance of burnout while keeping you emotionally connected to your day, because you're pulling yourself out of the rhythm and kind of looking at it from the big picture. So you get this, okay, am I still moving things forward? Yeah, okay. Oh, I got to adjust this. All right, I need to make that call. It really gives you time to reassess. People who do WMEI as a 5-minute break 3 to 5 times a day report a completely different experience of their day than the way they used to work if they didn't do any of it. Does that make sense? So breaks are really critically important. Happiness is up next. What are you doing or who are you around to facilitate and propagate happiness in your day, in your life? So many times people are like, that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm at work going after it. Take a 5-minute break and watch a YouTube video of somebody pranking somebody. Not the pranks that hurt people. Take a 5-minute break and watch your favorite comedian. Just get reconnected to life and bring in that joy, bring in that positivity, ignite some emotion in a good way. Does that make sense? So what are your practices there? Let's get back to rating. I think over here I've been at a 9. As far as breaks go, I'm going to give myself an 8. I know I can do better there. And happiness, I'm on that like nobody's business, 9.5. My favorite is TikTok. And I'll go right into Kat Stickler and just watch a few of her videos, her little TikTok videos. She's amazing at just radiating and generating happiness for me. And I'll make sure to link to her profile below for you so you can just enjoy it. Then there's a couple comedians that I love. Jimmy Carr's hilarious. And Anthony Jeselnik. There's a couple new ones that I found, and I'm trying to think of their name. Maybe I'll link to those below. These are just ways to generate and sustain happiness. And pepper it into your day so that every day is Sunday, fun day. Monday, fun day. Tuesday, fun day, as we talked about earlier. Next up, finances. This ties to the profit piece. How are we doing it saving more than we're spending? How are we doing it saving for the future? How are we doing it having a fun fund where every paycheck or every time you get income infusion, piece of that goes into the fun fund that you leverage on a weekly basis. Date night, movie night, great place to eat, great experience, whatever that is for you, but is that part of your rhythm? So do you have your finances dialed in and are you having fun? So for that I'm going to give myself a 9. There's a couple areas I could probably do better there. The final 3 really heighten feeling energized, healthy, amplified toward better days, better weeks, better months, better years. Presence. And I'll even say engagement. And the way to think about this is how connected to the moment are you? Are you thinking about what's coming up? Are you thinking about the past? Or are you here? If you're in front of somebody you love, are you on your phone and distracted from them? And maybe there's a time where you're both on your phone and that's okay. But can you put the phone down and look at them and go, hey, how you doing? What's happening for you? Anything you want to do or talk about? What is that? With that kind of energy, that kind of curiosity. And I love that life anthem that I have. And maybe if you've seen our training before, you know that to be true for me. And I hope it's true for you. Joyful curiosity, my life anthem. Joyful curiosity. So where is that set for you as you think about this year so far? from a presence and engagement perspective. And I think that I think I can do a lot better there. I'm going to be totally honest with you. There was a pretty heavy duty time I went through after Josie left. That was a few months back, where I was like falling apart psychologically because my identity was shifting from a dad who's with his daughters on a weekly basis to dad who doesn't have his daughters around him and is calling them, and like the empty nest syndrome, I guess. And I was just all over the place. Finally, in the last few weeks, I've been able to right that ship and form my new identity and start to come to terms with it. As weird as that sounds, this wasn't something I was like, hey, it's an intellectual thing I got to sort through. It was an emotion that was really hitting me and tearing me apart, waking up, and I'm like, why do I not feel it? So just so you know, we all go through struggles. We all have challenges. We all have frustrations. But the best part about this is that we have this high performance sort of thematic elements in our life. We have ways to reset, think through, express, reflect, journal, aim for better tomorrows. And this is a big part of that. If you're struggling with anything like I was, whether it's empty nest or just something else that's tagging you, let's talk. Maybe I can't help you because I'm not a licensed therapist. I have a recommendation for you. Two of them actually. One is a local therapist that she can work internationally, but she's a local therapist here in South of Florida. And then the other is BetterHelp.com. BetterHelp.com. A lot of people that I know have used it and are using it, and it's a great resource to just get help. Does that all make sense? So I hope this has shed some light for you as we illustrate the presence aspect of things and how that can be pulled. Next up is purpose. Goes right back to what we've been talking about all day. How purposeful have you felt? And you have to define what purpose is for you, but how purposeful have you felt in 2023 so far? The last 6 weeks now? The last 6 weeks. In whatever purpose is for you. Now for me, it's me stepping into the life arenas, going out, having fun and adventure. It's me helping you improve your life. It's me in our business work, growing people's businesses. It's me in the internet business, helping people facilitate better lead quality, meaning qualified people coming in, making the phone call, connecting to buy their products, services, solutions. Does that all make sense? That's purposeful for me. And that is like a 10. And I'm going to just say that because that's how it's felt. This year has been on fire. And the last one is the actionable piece. And that is, how well have you been at planning your day and living into it? And that is going to be a 9.5 for me. Planning your day and living into it. So what does that mean? It means like if you've been through high performance or you've read High Performance Habits, you'll know we talk a lot about productivity and we talk a lot about intentionally planning out your day. Here's all the tasks that I need to do today. Here's the stuff that needs to be done at some point in the future. Here's the 3 big projects I'm working on, or maybe it's one big project that I want to move forward today that doesn't relate to the tasks necessarily. It could be writing that book, going after that thing, studying a trip that you want to take, whatever it is. And then here's the people I need to reach out to and the people I'm waiting on to move my stuff forward. So that's the one-page productivity planner that we provide inside High Performance Coaching, session 5 of the core. That's the essence of it. So my goal for you is to really think about the basics here, the fundamentals, and how you're doing in these areas. And as you can see in our action list, out of these, pick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, whatever it is for you. That's the idea. Get the wheel of perspective. Try it daily for 3 to 5 times. So you're assessing yourself on a daily basis or a weekly basis. And then pick one area to work on over the next 3 to 5 weeks. So one area to work on per week for the next 3 to 5 weeks. What does that mean? It means if you said sleep is something that's a 6 or a 7, below an 8, that might be the first thing. And I can tell you that's the first thing I did in 2011 that changed my game. I went from being the night owl to the morning guy and making sure I got 7.5 to 8 hours of good quality sleep. That changed everything about this. Does that make sense? I also dropped a ton of weight. It wasn't just related to sleep. It was related to the rest of these items. So I hope that helps as we sort of make this real for you. If you assess yourself on a daily basis for 5 days, I can almost guarantee that you're going to improve in those areas. Just because you're paying attention to them. You're setting some intention. Man, I want to rank this up tomorrow. What do I got to do? Well, I'm not going to have that candy bar. I'm going to try this celery and carrots and blueberries instead of that candy bar and just see how I feel. Oh, your body's going to be screaming for sugar too, by the way. But once you pivot, that's the magic. Your body doesn't scream for sugar anymore. I had to go through that. That's a heavy duty endeavor, just so you know. So that being said, I hope the fundamentals have helped. The Wheel of Perspective, linked below, the tool you can get to really assess yourself. It's a one-pager, rocks it out. If you want to take the 10-day Health, Wealth, and Happiness Challenge, I'll link to that below. And that'll really walk you through on a daily basis, one topic per day. Each of these things, we crush it together. Is that all helpful for you? I hope so. Now let's get into ninja moves and rock this thing out. So what I wanted to aim for was, there was a couple things that I tested and maybe stuck my toe in the water, so to speak, to trial to see if I could amp my energy even more. And these are the things that I've reported out as of one full month of testing them that have really amped energy and health, in my mind, even more. So if you have your notes out, let's get into this. If you don't, get your notes out, because I'm going to give you some helpful hints and tips and resources through that lens. Does that all make sense? Sweet. So very first is I had to understand my intolerances. Now, I did this work to understand what my body was intolerant to. And before we step into this, let's talk about what intolerance is. It's like a mild allergy. So through the food lens, this is the basic lens that I'm talking about here, is I had to determine where my body's energy was being yanked from me because my body was dealing with eating food that it didn't align with, that inflamed it, that agitated it. That wasn't quite an allergy, but it wasn't like smooth sailing, so to speak. And so the way I got there was in 2013, I think it was. JJ Virgin was at a Brendan Burchard event, and she wrote the book, The Virgin Diet. And she went over these 7 different foods, and I don't know that I remember them all, but it was soy, corn, peanuts, dairy, eggs, gluten, and there's one more, and I can't remember it. But what she had to do is pull out all of those things for 21 days and then reintroduce one of them per week. And when I pulled them out for the first 3 days, that's why I always challenge people on 3-day intervals, is to really just trial this for 3 days. Because by the 3rd day, you're going to feel the difference in your energy in your body. You're also usually on the 3rd day, especially if you get into something else I'm going to cover, you're going to feel like, oh, whoa, because your body's not used to this. But if you can transcend beyond that day, you'll start to see this. So it's incredibly important that you understand what foods or what you're eating or drinking that are pulling your energy from you. I did not realize, because I loved at the time, from when I was 6, as far back as I can remember, we would make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and I loved Jif creamy peanut butter. So when I pulled peanuts out of my realm because of JJ Virgin's book, and I'll link to her book below, but when I pulled peanuts out of that realm, next thing you know, I go and test peanuts. Aura. That's the front end of a migraine. Aura. I was like, what the freak? It was like 20 minutes after I had the peanut butter. I'm like, oh, I must have a small intolerance to peanuts. So I just switched to organic almond butter. And boom, problem solved. Does that make sense? So that would, obviously migraines pull your energy. I'm not the same person when I have a migraine that I am without one. So these are the things. Gluten and I don't get along. Dairy and I cannot have too much dairy. I cannot have egg yolks. Like, it really tears me up. Soy I'm okay with, but I didn't know. And that's the part. You may be eating something on a daily basis that really harms your energy. That just pulls it down. Like you feel, that kind of sensation after you eat. Or maybe a few hours after you eat, as it gets into your cells and propagates. It kind of determines the energy levels there. Oh, the last one was refined sugar. Now that I think about it. So I just pulled sugar out of my life, aiming to eat less than like 50 grams of sugar a day, which in a soda, there's like 60 grams of sugar. And I trialed that for a while, and that worked like magic for energy amplification. But I'll warn you, my body's cells were screaming for sugar. Where's my sugar? And it was coming out in like a mood. in my being. It was like my body's like, give me sugar. And my face and everything was like, where's the sugar? And I was craving weird things like Kit Kat bars. It was insane. So just be warned about that. So intolerances, know your intolerances. Try to eat things that are, and then you can start with J.J. Virgin's book to just assess how you're feeling. So let me give you an example of a meal that doesn't hit on J.J. Virgin's 7 areas. It'd be like a lean chicken with broccoli and maybe sweet potatoes. Well, potatoes might be in that room. So a lean chicken and broccoli, protein and a vegetable, and maybe a little bit of an apple or something like that. That would be an example of a meal that you would have, just so you have a frame. You could have the high performance shake. We talked about that earlier. That's another example that doesn't hit on the intolerances, presuming you don't put in dairy milk, but use almond milk like I do. Is that helpful? So really assess how you've been doing, or if you've thought about the foods that pull energy from you. And then more importantly, like which foods are you intolerant to that you might be putting in your diet every day. And intolerance can show up in energy drag, in inflammation where you just feel bloated, just like skin conditions. I've had that when I've eaten too much gluten, those kind of things. So to kind of give you a frame for that. There is an amazing YouTube channel, and I'll link to it below, Dr. Eric Berg. He got thousands of videos now, and he really helps you understand intolerances on top of J.J. Virgin's work. And so I'm going to be referencing Eric's work quite a bit as we go through these ninja moves. So next up is sleep, but not just getting 4 hours of sleep. Getting the 4 levels and measuring them. And I do that through my Aura Ring. So what does that mean? The human body has 4 different levels of sleep. One, the level isn't really asleep, is awake. In the Aura Ring, it reports out your sleep pattern for the night, every night. So it'll say you were awake here, and then you woke up a couple times in the middle of the night. And then it'll show you light sleep, or excuse me, REM sleep. Then it'll show you light sleep. And then most importantly is deep sleep. And so what I really wanted to do is really study and understand what the ratios were that made me feel the best, and then step into different eating patterns. And what I discovered to get masterful at sleep, which is a huge part, as we've talked about, of having great energy. You know how it goes when you don't get your sleep. But even at a masterful level is to understand what it took to get the best quality sleep. And you get a sleep rating on the Aura Ring. There's other devices. I just use the Aura Ring because it's amazing. And the readiness score that it gives you. And then it shows you your body temperature and your heart rate now at night. So I always get low heart rate warnings because my heart rate is down around 40 beats per minute, idle, so to speak. And sometimes it dips below that, but that's just how I'm built. That's just my body. And I guess that's a great sign from what I've read. But the concept is I got sleep mastery. And I tested it in Vegas, and my sleep was destroyed in Vegas. Like I'm eating things and doing things too late. And I'm eating food intolerances. And I'm okay with that because I know what they are, but I love the taste of them. Like the cinnamon pancakes at Catch, which is a restaurant in Aria, in their brunch. Todd, Jen, me, and Mel, we had that. It was like mind-blowing. But the concept's really clear. I'm going to pay a price for that in my energy. I'm okay with that because I'm going to have a great experience here. But I'll resurrect or realign that when I step back into Florida, which I've done. But I sure enjoyed that. I keep thinking about it. It's so good. Does that make sense where we're going with this? But what I'm trying to explain to you is that the sleep is altered when I eat too late or have craft cocktails. It really crushes my sleep, and I can tell you exactly what shows up. My HRV, heart rate variability, dives, which is not good. My beats per minute is up, sometimes 60 beats per minute instead of 40. Not good. My readiness score is bad rating. My sleep quality, deep sleep isn't as lengthy, and it's all over the place. You see me wake up a lot, especially in the first half of the night. So I know this though, and I want you to know this. I know when I get the right amount of sleep and I hit the right ratios, and I know what it takes to do that, and I'll give you some hints on that in a second, that I feel the best, especially for today. Yesterday, the day before, I ate ultra lean, and we'll talk about this in a minute, alkaline based, so that I'd have the best energy for today, because I know I got to step and serve. Does that make sense? And I'm good with that. it's not about feeling guilty. That's not what this is about. Oh, I'm not going to eat that because I feel guilty that I ate something I wasn't supposed to. I'm going to eat that and enjoy that, but I'm going to recognize the energy that's not going to be had because of it. And I'm okay with that. Cool. Let's go and enjoy that. But I'm going to right that ship later on. And I know how to right that ship. That's probably the heightened level of awareness that high performance has helped me with. So when you think about sleep, the best setup for a great night's sleep is the day before I'm eating heavy in the morning, a great brunch. Primarily not sugar-based, not carb-based. So that would be like an egg white omelet, maybe 2 slices of toast. That's probably the threshold of that. And the other aspect, salad in there. So an egg white omelet, salad, fruit, and 2 pieces of toast, maybe with some bacon. Meat's okay for me. I'm good with it. At lunch, or later lunch, or early dinner, like 4 o'clock, seems kind of weird. This is Florida. People do eat early, especially the older group. I'm in the older group. At about 4 o'clock, eat a very light dinner. So what I mean by that is I'll have my high performance shake. If I have my high performance shake at 4 and I don't eat after that, which we'll talk about intermittent fasting in just a minute, I'm going to have a great night's sleep. Presuming I don't drink coffee or anything after 3. I can have a little bit of, and I love certain flavors of bourbon, neat, and that's okay for me. I've tested this, and I can have maybe a little sifter of bourbon, just basically an ounce, just a little snack and smell. I just love the smell of bourbon. So I can have a little bit of that at night, and I'm okay. I get the best quality sleep when that's the setup. Eat heavy in the morning, maybe exercise in the morning, or go for my run, and then eat a lighter dinner that's not as heavy in terms of the body needs to digest it and so forth. And I'm good. And that's the best quality sleep. And the flip side of that, if I eat a heavy meal at 6 or later, not so good. And you'll see it show up in my heart rate and my HRV. The HRV will be down, the heart rate will be up. My sleep quality is not good. Does that help? Just kind of giving you frame for what that looks like. So it's the resource that I want to make sure is the Oura Ring with its app, and I'll link to that below, just so you have a frame for it and what's possible there. This has been everything towards me dialing in, feeling heightened levels of energy as I've really applied best practices and principles this year to it. And then I threw in Vegas in there, go and celebrate in January, February 4th through the 8th, we were in Vegas. And I knew my Oura Ring was going to go all over the place, and it sure did. But that's the reality of that, so that you know what works and you know what doesn't. That reiterated that fact. Cool? So that's the second item. Next item is you have to know your levels. And what do I mean by your levels? This comes into the realm of vitamins, minerals, and supplements. And I got a few here for you. These are the ones that I found. I worked with Dr. John, who is part of the Brendan Mastermind, and he was part of our mastery community, to find the best vitamins and minerals that are highest level of absorption. So there's, just real quick, there's water-soluble vitamins that just dissolve and absorb with water, and there's fat-soluble vitamins that don't really absorb into your body unless you eat them with fats, so to speak. Does that make sense? That's the basics of it. Dr. John talks about this. Dr. Eric Berg, who I recommended a moment ago, talks about this. So zinc, magnesium, and this one, vitamin B12. I recognized about a decade ago I was getting my sleep, but I still felt fatigued through the day. Energy was tagged. And I recognized too that I needed to get my levels checked. So I was able to find out that I was low on B12. And B12 is like the key indicator for you feeling fatigued even though you got your rest. So I didn't realize this, but my daughters both have B12 deficiencies too, because I got them each a container of this, and they had this with food. And the next thing you know, Dad, it's like somebody inflated my tires. Dad, I feel so much better. Like I'm getting my rest, especially my youngest, naps a lot. And she gets her rest. She has this. She reported that she feels a lot better. She feels a lot more energized. So you really have to decide and think about knowing your levels. Where is your body's natural deficiencies, or where are you just not getting enough of something? What I discovered with zinc and magnesium is that if I get a migraine, which I hardly do anymore, mine always start with an eye thing. It's called the aura, where there's like a kaleidoscope going on. And eventually, after about a half an hour, it goes away, and then boom, the pain hits. If I have one zinc and one magnesium, and magnesium is a key indicator for a lot of people with migraines that got magnesium deficiency, the pain isn't even there. You can feel a little bit of it as the eye part goes away, but very minimal. I could go on my day, I could teach, I can coach, I can do whatever I need to do. So I really had to know that I need zinc, magnesium, selenium. Dr. Eric Berg talks a lot about the power of selenium, and that I get with my other vitamins. I take the Dr. Amen Brain Max Pro, and I'll put that in a link for you as well, to really accentuate getting the vitamins and nutrients that my body needs, but also filling the deficiencies. Does that make sense? So just knowing your levels. I put B12 here because that was the big takeaway. My life would have lived at a lesser level of energy and health because of B12 deficiency. Once I figured that out, more sustenance of energy throughout the day. Does that make sense? Does that help? It's so powerful. I would even challenge you just to try B12 for a week. Like get this, I'll try to link to all this below for you. But get that, try it for a week, just see if your energy feels differently. Critical ninja move here. So really dial this in. This has helped and helped big time. And I am so aware of my body now. I'm like, oh, I didn't take my B12. Feeling fatigue. Pop that, go for a small walk. Boom. It's like somebody reinflated my tires. I'm back. Let's go. Let's handle it. Next up is eating alkaline based. So what does that actually mean? In last month's session, I had ChatGPT on the big screen show me an alkaline-based food menu. And then I had it like make a meal plan for a week. And then I had it give me a grocery list. So going back to what we shared with nutrient-rich eating earlier, alkaline-based is non-acidic. So there's acidic-based foods and alkaline-based foods. Alkaline-based foods are what I was talking about that are not beige. Well, chicken's beige, but chicken, lean protein, more alkaline. Like broccoli, it's more alkaline. My high performance shakes, more alkaline. Staying away from sugars is alkaline. Another way of thinking of alkaline based, Dr. Eric Berg talks about this too, is keto or ketosis, where your body's burning its fat instead of storing sugar as fat when you're eating more acidic based. Does that make sense? Your body's burning fat because you're eating alkaline. It goes to the energy source of burning the fat versus storing fat when you eat too much acidic, sugary based foods. So the challenge that I have for you, if you really want to amplify energy and sense this, and maybe we can work on a meal plan or you can use ChatGPT to build one for you, try it for 3 days. Really try to pull sugar out, all forms of sugar, breads, potatoes, French fries, chips, chocolates, whatever, sodas. Pull it out for 3 days and just eat alkaline based and measure energy each day. So the combination of ninja moves that I found, and this was a big takeaway for January, and I'm loving it because I'm putting it in play in a calendar, is combining alkaline based eating with intermittent fasting. And specifically what's worked for me as I've tested it is 16.8, 16 to 8. What does that mean? So first of all, let's talk about fasting. What that is where you can drink water, and it turns out you can drink black coffee, which I love. I love coffee because it's an appetite suppressor, meaning that when I have coffee, my body's like, oh, okay, well, I don't really need to eat. I'm good with that. That just works for my body. It's worked with a lot of other people I've coached. But fasting is where that's pretty much all you eat for an enduring period of time. You're not putting food in your body for, in this context, 16 hours. So think of it this way. If my last meal is at 5 p.m. today, my first meal will be at 11 a.m. tomorrow. And that I would aim to have as a bigger meal. Is that helpful? So what I did in January is I tested having 2 days of alkaline-based eating before I entered in a 16-8 alkaline-based intermittent fast. And that has been the ninja move that's taken my energy levels to all new heights. Like, think about this. For a decade, I've been living into this and eating nutrient rich, but I'm still not in, you can measure it through ketones in your body. You can study more about that with Dr. Eric or just Google it or use ChatGPT to help you with it. But when your body's in a high state of ketosis, the ketones are high, your body's like told, burn like use fat as energy. Use any reserved fat you have. And if you can do that for an enduring period of time, you start to see your face shrink up, like I lose this. The chubbiness in the cheeks just disappears. This part where my body stores right here gets minimized, and I feel lean, clean energy, and I don't feel inflated, inflamed at all. Does that make sense? So there's an app called Zero, it's Zero, for helping you start to fast. And I wouldn't recommend diving right into 16-8. You might do 12-12, you might do 14-10, and just kind of weave your way up to 16-8. I can do 16-8 without a problem for multiple days now. My body's in tune with that. And that's where I can hit the heightened levels of energy, like where my energy's off the charts. And you can tell in my family, because my girls and my wife and people around me are like, you're so annoying. Because I'm bouncing off the walls, doing crazy stuff. And they're like, would you just calm down? That is a tell on me having extra bunches of energy at 51. That's my age, by the way. I know I don't look it. So I hope these ninja moves in parallel help you. The 5 ninja moves to reflect and go over them again. First, know your intolerances. Know where your body is sitting in a non-inflamed, intolerant state. Because right there, you're going to feel more energy. Second is know that you're getting the best quality sleep you can and prime your body for it. And I gave you some insights there. Third, know your levels. I didn't realize, and I could have lived my life not having the proper amount of B12 or having it by accident and living at a much lower overall and feeling a fatigue level of energy, then bouncing that up. One little thing, one little pill, not a pill of a prescription format, like a drug, but a supplement that helps my body get the levels of things that it needs to function at its very best. Fourth, alkaline-based. Eating alkaline-based, go into ChatGPT, have it do what it did, or watch our training from last session. You'll get that. 5, intermittent fasting. So when I pair intermittent fasting with alkaline-based, presuming this stuff's in check, that's in check, all that's in check, it is like watch out world. I get excited about the amount of energy that I have. And then again, I go and live life and have a pizza at Bartulia or a Turkish flatbread down at Del Mar. These are some of my favorites down on Fifth Avenue in Naples. And I know I'm going to be tagged for energy, but I'm okay with it. I'm not putting myself through any kind of guilt trip because of it. Does that make sense? I'm going to enjoy life, but I also know what I need to do to kind of keep that heightened levels of energy overall. Is this helpful? I hope these 5 ninja moves, I hope you trial some of this because I want you to taste life as it can be. You might remember when you were little, you had all this energy. I want you to get back to that. Have this vitality, verve, connection to life. Feel the engagement, the presence. I hope you're feeling it with me right now. That's it. Let's go through your action list and wrap this beautiful baby up. First, get the Wheel of Perspective. Try it daily or weekly for 3 to 5 times. I recommend if people aren't dialed in on these 10 areas to do it daily. So print 5 copies, fill it out every day, and keep it. Some people, they do a 3-ring binder, and they keep it there, and they flip through it and see themselves grow, literally, through the way the Wheel of Perspective is designed. Second, pick one area to work on per week for the next 3 to 5 weeks. So sleep might be week 1, eating nutrient-rich might be week 2, trying something that gets your heart rate up, gets you sweaty, week 3. Week 4 might be starting that. Just not eating foods that are known to give humans intolerance. And week 5 might be vitamins, minerals, getting yourself tested on week 4 and saying, all right, let's try filling the gaps with that. Does that make sense how we can apply this into an actual schedule? 3, report, share your commitment journey with me daily. Please email me, send me a note, let me know. This worked, this is how I'm feeling, this didn't work. Do you have any other options? Do you have any other videos that I got tons of resources for you there? 4, test a full 3 days of an alkaline-based diet. It's share how you feel. Oh, it's going to be difficult at first. I can do it like that, no problem. But I'll tell you what, by day 3, it's like, what the frick's going on here? I have so much energy. That's typically what I hear. Not always, but typically. And number 5, as you know, ask for help. I'm here for you. I'm loving on you. I'm in your corner, championing you on, sending you all kinds of powerful, healthy, happy energy to really go after that heightened levels of health and energy for yourself, for those you care about, your family, your love, your friends, and the world, so you can experience the world the way it's supposed to be experienced. Cool? That said, this ends 5 ninja moves to greatly amplify energy. I think we delivered on it. Let me know how I did, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much. Rocking it. We crushed it.